a lot of people go through seasonal depression, and staying active is a good way to do it. And I don't want to go running when it's 2 degrees out, but for some reason, I'll gladly go play hockey if it's 2 degrees out.
Thinking way back when we were sophomores and first started hanging out here, myself and Nate Rocker and a couple other of our friends, this used to be just the best house we'd ever been to.
And Wes's family would always have a rink out in their front yard. So when we took the house over, we took the rink over pretty much.
Have a bunch of pond hockey tournaments, 4th annual fucking Chapel Street Classic, dude.
The legend just grows each and every year, not only because of the Chapel Street Classic, but just the year-round fun that it's had. One day in February, one Saturday in February, everyone gathers here, and I think this event really solidifies the quote-unquote legend that has now become Chapel Street.
My name's Mike. I started in 2008 as a marine science major. I never graduated, and I'm working on a food truck now.
Cody Beckett. I am a senior journalism major, and this is my first year living at Chapel Street.
Well, my name is Matthew Toothaker. I graduated last year, and now I just kind of live here. Yeah, I started hanging out at Chapel Street a couple of years ago.
Beautiful trophy. Actually, probably maybe the most valuable one in this house.
Oh, no question.
This year, the conditions were the worst for the ice they've ever been. Any Chapel Street Classic. Obviously, this is the first time we've ever taken the skates off and just played hockey in boots. That was just out of pure necessity because there was no way we were skating on that ice.
Pressure's stuck in.
Oh my god.
But on the other hand, that's why it became such a great party. And I think looking a few years from now, people are going to look back on that one day like that was so much fun because it was so nice out. It was in like the 50s, the sun was out, so people were just outside having a great time.
They're looking at the backhander like it's an opportunity or something.
It's the bean booth.
I actually have no hockey background at all. Chapel Street was my only hockey background, and I kind of learned to skate on Chapel Street, and it really found my way on the ice here.
Everyone loves hockey so much, and they love being here, and then also having a good time is the other half of the entire. The hockey is the main attraction, but the party, particularly this time around, definitely is also a major factor, and it kind of superseded this edition of the Chapel Street Classic.
I'm sure they said before with the keg increasing every year. We first year 1 keg, second year 2.
And this year we were aiming for 4 kegs, 4 or 5 kegs total.
We apparently had enough people to go through 7, so there's a lot of people this year.
This year I think we also had 20-something teams of 3. And I think we kind of did out the math, and that would have been, at any given point of the day, there would have been like around 200 people here.
It's got to be a record, I think, that probably I challenge any other place anywhere down these streets of Orono.
But it was definitely the busiest, for sure. Biggest turnout.
I don't even know if all 22 teams are checked in yet. If all 22 teams are here, then every team gets seeded 1 through 22. Top 2 teams get a bye, and then the next 10 teams play.
All right, if any want to win any game, I have to be a part of that one. That's the vengeance game, or the not vengeance, the fucking rivalry game.
We're all really good friends. Those 2 teams, me, Tooth, McCone, aka the Mustard Tigers, and then Brian, Damo, and Dane formed the hashtag Fuck Mustard Tigers.
He will cut his jeans up. He's a little bit of a wild card. He's a good teammate. You know, we're going to use him in a variety of roles. I think he's going to be our primary energy guy. But honestly, I'd love to see him battle along the boards.
What's your team name?
Hashtag Foot Mustard Tigers.
We really don't like the Mustard Tigers. We just want to beat the Mustard Tigers.
That was a great rivalry going. Cody and Brian definitely have a long history together. They were both talk show hosts.
Yeah, he was the one who got me into the second Chapel Street Classic. I had known a couple of the guys that lived here, maybe come over once or twice to skate, but I never really heard too much about this. I probably would have tried to force my way in, but I was fortunate. Whereas my friendship with Brian had just I pretty much developed over the last 6 months, and he knew that I played hockey in high school and I loved hockey. That's all we ever talked about. That's why we became such good friends, was because of hockey and the Bruins and everything else.
We do got round 2. We got to get up for that again because we just put a lot on the line out there for that first game. But
Got anything to say before you face Cody? Who's right behind you?
All I'm gonna say is that I think all his assumptions and accusations that we can't play are gonna be proven wrong.
Response?
11-0.
And Cody being the former player for Mr. Roach, definitely meant a lot to him. I think we really went out there and gave it our all against their team.
He knew that I would be a perfect fit, and so he asked me if I would play for his team, and I was like, oh, sure, I'll play some hockey with you. And he's like, no, I want to be coach, because he's not the most experienced hockey player, so he decided to take a back seat and coach the team from the bench.
I'm a lot more confident now, I can say that. With the decision to switch the boots, I feel like I'll be able to stand up a little more and have a little more control. We knew that wasn't a strong point of my game coming into this.
Again, we're all such good friends, and they entered the tournament more as just to have fun, because none of them are really serious hockey players. Me, Tooth, McCone were there to win.
This is Team Mustard Tigers versus Team Cook Mustard Tigers. Yeah! And it's rock and we're playing hockey, people! Oh, hey! Ambrose rocking And that's a goal!
We rule a goal? 20 seconds. No goal? No goal.
Bullshit. No goal!
Why is it no goal?
19 seconds. No. Until overtime.
Overtime.
15 seconds left in overtime.
It was probably the most fun I had all day on that ice, because we were playing against great friends who were just out there to have a good time. And there was a little bit of rivalry. We obviously wanted to win, but I guess being that now looking back on it, that it's kind of appropriate that it was a tie.
Come on, play hockey. Play hockey.
And I was granted the privilege to kind of enforce people who were being too rowdy at the party. So I did have to disqualify a team, yell at a few kids. They were being a little too rowdy. So kick them out.
Everyone's going. Yeah, Trav.
Brewer! Please step on the ice!
3 kids from Brewer who all played high school hockey. 2 of them are brothers, so they've been playing hockey together forever, and they've pretty much just come here and trained through this tournament. 2 years ago, I was a part of the team that lost to them in the championship game. We hadn't lost a game the entire tournament, and this was again one of the teams coached by Brian, and went into the final championship pretty much with all the crowd at our back, but they put it to us and took home the chalice. So this year, the goal was to win at absolute all costs, and particularly beat the Brewer kids. I mean, that was what everyone wanted to do, every team that was involved. The teams from Chapel or the teams coming from outside, they knew the reputation of the Brewer kids.
Fuck! I'm gonna kill myself!
Everyone just wanted to beat them. Well, once again, what do you know? It came down to us against Brewer in the championship game for the Chapel Street Classic Chalice.
Crowd, are we ready?
Watch out! Oh! The body on it.
The Brewer kids won for the third consecutive year of the Chapel Street Classic. Unfortunately, once again, we didn't have enough. They got out to an early lead and we just could never come back.
We were a hell of a team. I think we really pulled together throughout the whole tournament and really just pushed through, kind of led the way to beat the Brewer kids this year, but sadly we couldn't pull through in the end.
For their third consecutive championship.
I thought they were team
Dynasty.
Dynasty. You're so good.
There you go.
It's a miracle.
Championship Classic. He is the champion.
Stop winning.
What do you think it would take for there to be a 5th annual Chapel Street Classic?
I mean, it pretty much come down to filling this house again, but also with people who are dedicated to build that hockey rink.
If we want to have a 5th annual Chapel Street Classic, we need some motivated people who move in here, some people who think that they can top making an ice rink. It takes a lot of work. Pretty much every night you have to go out, pack the snow, water it down.
Obviously, we're going to be moving on, and if there was a 5th, everyone that was here, everyone that lived here would come back next year. They'd figure out some way to get back here no matter where they are in their lives at that point. But we obviously can't be here on a day-to-day basis to build that rink.
People moving in would have to be very dedicated and hardworking, and obviously it takes a whole house to make it work.
If people are living here, the people are going to come. They hear about the Chapel Street Classic, they're going to come and they're going to have a good time. So it pretty much just comes down to whether that rink get built one more winter.
We're all born to broken people on their most honest day of living. Since that first breath, only grace that we've never given. Well, I've been haunted by standard red devils and white ghosts. It's not only when these eyes are closed. These lies are ropes. I tied into my stomach, but they hold this ship together, tossed like leaves in this weather. My dreams are sails that I point towards my true north, stretch thin over my rib bones and pray that it gets better. But it won't. At least I don't believe it will. So I built a wooden heart inside this iron ship to sail these blood-red seas and find your coast. Don't let these waves wash away your hopes. This warship is sinking and I still believe in anchors. Pulling fistfuls of rotten wood from my heart, I still believe in saviors. We're all made out of shipwrecks, every single board. Washed and bound like crooked teeth on these rocky shores. So come on and let's wash each other with tears of joy and tears of grief. And fold our lives like crashing waves and run up on this beach. Come on and sew us together, just some tattered rags stained forever. We only have